Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh, an aspiring comics artist and lifelong student of the craft. I'm joined by my co-hosts Eric Zawadzki and Taylor Stauft. Before we get into today's episode, our very own Eric Zawadzki has a couple of plugs to draw. So Eric, let him know.
I just wanted to say that I'm the artist of Assorted Crisis Events, which is an ongoing book from Image Comics. It's been selling out, so yeah, we have a second printing of number one, and then a third printing with a great cover by Riley Rossmo. Yeah, it's been selling out at the stores. It's probably, I should say, maybe it's a bit of a buzz book. So yeah, I would appreciate anybody watching this pick it up. It's an ongoing series, I should say.
Hell yeah. Check that out. Come on, guys.
Right
You
on.
know you want it. Get it now.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so today, a very special episode where we're going to be looking at Extremity by Daniel Warren Johnson, a true comics master, and it's the first and probably a multi-episode look at his career. He's also the writer-artist on Transformers, The Moon is Following Us with Riley Rossmo, and also my personal favorite, Better Ray Bill. Let's see, Wonder Woman. What else? Murder Falcon.
Hell yeah.
The list goes on and on and on.
Right on.
So, yeah. Specifically today, though, Taylor, we're going to be looking at your copy of the signature edition, right?
That's right. Yes, it is just Daniel Warren Johnson's straight pencils and inks directly onto the page. There are no colors, no letters outside of the sound effects, which Daniel Warren Johnson did himself, as you can see here. It's
just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So this book just came out recently, right? Like, when did you get this book?
I got it a couple months ago. I think it showed up in November. Actually, I can't remember when I got it, but as soon as I saw the Kickstarter for it, it's like, yep, I gotta have it. I just gotta.
I think Daniel Warren Johnson is an ideal candidate for an artist edition because he's not a very clean artist. He's the kind of artist that just throws ink down on the page. He's throwing white paint. You can see evidence of paste ups, splatter.
Oh yeah.
But just through pen and ink, it's fully realized art.
Yeah,
like every panel is a fully realized environment and fully realized character, everything.
Yeah, you can listen to him. He talks a lot in different interviews because I've listened to just a bunch for this to get his kind of timeline on coming up with this story, and like it is a 3-year process from first conceiving it to the first issue landing in March 2017. I think he starts in 2014. And in fact, I did want to share, this is actually, everything else are made for production when he got the green light. But this is the very first page that he ever drew of it for just pitch pages. But it was exactly what I wanted, so he kept it. This is the original version.
So
didn't redraw it or nothing.
Wow.
This came out from Skybound, we should say. So he pitched to Skybound?
So what happened was he had produced, he had been given the opportunity to pitch to Skybound. Yeah, after one of their editors, not Sean Mankiewicz. No, not that Sean, but it is a Sean.
Big Clutch.
Sean Kirkham. Sean Kirkham.
Yeah. He
saw something in Daniel Warren Johnson's Space Mullet pages after purchasing a few at a show. I believe it's Emerald City, and after buying them, he corralled Sean Mankiewicz into coming to see his stuff, and they were like, "Do you want to pitch? Do you have any ideas?" And after a few disappointing instances on comics. I'm not going to name names, but but it dawned on him, no, I got to write and create my own, and this is what he came up with, this revenge story. So this is the first page that he ever drew. From it, you can even see, the faded colored lines that he uses for perspective. Even on this, you can see in and around
Mhm.
here. You can see the colored pencil that he's using. Yeah,
Can you pull up the
2014.
Can you pull up the trade? Because the Mike Spicer colors are gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Just like that backdrop there with the pink sky, just
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, they're kind of a perfect, and this is part of what I want to go over with this, is just how well these two guys mesh
Yeah,
when it comes to black and white. That's primarily what he works in. DWJ, as he's called on his live stream, or on his live streams. He'll do like some watercolors as like, here's what I'm thinking, but when it comes to ultimate choices, like, I think he leaves it up to Mike Spicer. Eric, you had some history with Mike Spicer. I mean, he's the best. He's one of the best.
yeah. Actually, geez, where's Heart? Yeah, he colored Heart Attack. I wish I had the trade handy,
Now
but
a TV show in Japan.
yeah, crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I worked with Mike Spicer on my Skybound book as well, Heart Attack, and yeah, his work is just amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's because he adds, like, in this, he's really taking. You can see he's taking what Daniel Warren Johnson is doing and kind of exploding it with, because to me, this is dropped out to kind of draw focus to uh, Jerome and his wife, whose name I unfortunately can't remember at this time. But Spicer takes it and really goes in with the lighting effect here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's there's no doubt where the focus is supposed to be, and that's the thing is Daniel Warren Johnson is just an expert at composition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we zero in on our lead characters right away.
Yeah, and it's, man, I don't know. I not to get too personal, but fuck, did I need to read this book this month? Hasn't been great, I'll be honest. But reading this story of being an artist and losing what you thought was yourself, man, I needed to, because that's really the central crux of this, is, which I think is a fear that we can all really identify with, just the loss of, like, what if this hand went away? What would I do?
Yeah,
To the point that it actually, like,
You
go ahead.
know, I was going to say it's a funny story, but I got Extremity number one. When number one first came out, I bought it off DWJ personally at
What?
Seattle Con.
Hell yeah.
And I told him, I shook his hand and everything, and I told him, I'm like, you got a fan for life, and I'm going to read everything you ever do. And then I read Extremity number one, and I could not bring myself to buy or read number two
What?
because it was just so, because losing your like, just go into what the story's about. It's about, an artist loses their
Yeah.
hand, right? You lose your
Yep.
right hand, your good right hand. And so that I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the thought. And I just never went back.
It's difficult, especially
And then what was
the way
after?
he draws this. Like, that's fucked up. It's happening, and
now
then, whoa,
Yeah. So
I have to be honest. Love the art. Just undeniably great on so many levels. But I read the first issue, read the first couple, and so this is a good page to be on. We see those three dark figures there.
hmm
This entire sequence sets up this as a revenge story,
it does.
and for the next
yeah.
so for about 3 issues, one by one, each one of these characters, or these bad shadowy characters are hunted down and violently killed off. And so that's what I thought this story was. This is like Kill Bill, just violent revenge. And I was not very into it. But with issue 3 and 4, that's when we find out what the story is really about. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a lot deeper than just a violent revenge story.
Boy, is it.
And I was
Right.
not into the first 2 or 3 issues. Like I liked it, but I was not. I guess I wasn't finding the deeper elements to it. But I do distinctly remember reading issue 4 and 5 and thinking, "Damn, this is really fucking good."
That's because this is based
Hmm.
on, this is also because it did start out as a uh, straight up and down narrative, revenge narrative. By his own admission, John Wick had just come out, and so a revenge story was in his mind, and it's a structure of a story that is pretty simple for a first time writer to latch onto, to create for his first one. But in this, we read. I listened to this is his wife writing. I listened to an NPR story about Eva Kor, a survivor of the terrible experiments in Auschwitz, who eventually gave radical forgiveness to her abusers.
Huh.
So it's that story of a real life woman who forgave her Nazi torturers, and the loss of the artist's hand that just slotted the whole thing together for him.
Yeah, wow. Because I mean, that's the entire
That's
narrative
wow.
thrust
I gotta
is
look
is
into
about
that.
finding peace, right?
It sure
And that's
is.
the entire arc for our lead character. So yeah, it's interesting that his wife was instrumental in helping him with this story and just making it so good. I
Yeah.
was very impressed by the writing in this series.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
I did since read the story, especially in preparation for this episode. Like, I did come back to it, but I just couldn't. I couldn't follow it. I knew it was going to be a year long thing. It was going to be a monthly thing. I'm like, I can't put myself through that
it's a
for every
lot,
month.
right?
So
Yeah.
I'll
As I'm
pass.
reading
It
this
is
for
very
this
violent.
episode, I had
Yeah.
flashbacks to, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I myself, this is a 22 stitch scar that runs across my
Oh yeah.
non-dominant hand. And that was enough for me
Oof.
to, like, I'm protecting these at all fucking costs. Like, I cannot bend my my ring finger properly anymore just because of that.
Oh
And
wow.
it made me like freak out at the idea of, what is the plan if I lose this? And asking my occupational therapy wife, uh, she said, best thing to do is what Thea does in this: start training on the left, which
I
I
mean,
was which I was
Yeah.
surprised at.
who there is an artist who pulled that off, a comic artist,
Howard Porter.
Porter.
Yeah,
Howard, yeah.
Howard
yeah,
Porter. Yeah. After a
yeah.
stroke.
So, to any young artists out there who have that fear, I get it, but you can always come back.
So look at the amount of panels he's put it here on every page. Basically,
Yeah.
it's very impressive that he wrote this and he's adding panels. I think. I mean, I would hazard to guess that most artists in the comics industry would prefer 5 panel pages. I think most comics you pick up off the rack are an average of 5 panels.
Hmm.
And so that's why it's very impressive when you see an artist writing for themselves and doing more than 5 panels.
Yeah.
He's a storyteller.
He is. And by his own admission, when he says right, it's a pretty loose. It sounds like what he does is writes scenes and just kind of lets the page tell him. And he said this in interviews. The page kind of tells you what it needs. But I think it's almost instinctual, because and I do want to come back to the sound effects, but yeah, you get like all these tightly packed pages so that when this happens, it hits
Oh
you.
yeah.
right? It's
Yeah, definitely.
4 pages of bam.
Yeah, I always say that
Mm.
noise is directly proportional to the silence that precedes it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you could apply that to this as well. Like a splash page hits harder when there's a whole bunch of rat-a-tat-tat little panels that precede it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this splash page would not be as special if the previous page was 3 panels.
Yeah, because it's
Right.
so much gearing up, and it's, there's so much going on. He rarely drops a background out in which, it's not that he doesn't. Obviously, you can see when he does, but for the
I
most
mean,
part,
that's out of necessity.
yeah,
Um, backgrounds aren't necessary for every single panel, but
no,
uh, I think he's high up there as one of the best set designers in comics. Like, sharing that with probably Sean Murphy. He
mm,
he puts a lot of thought into the world and the world building, and he just fills a scene with information, with props, with just so much, and there's just so much thought put into his sets.
yeah, yeah. It's I know that in one of these pages, like when he doesn't, again, here we got like, what is this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Bam! Like,
Yeah,
look at this. But yeah, you're right.
Mm.
He puts the time into, like, what do the Roto look like? What do the Paznina look like? What do their ships look like? Like, the Roto are all cobbled together. They're barely hanging on. The Paznina have whole ass Baroque medieval castles.
and
It's
even when it comes to the writing, there's so much thought put into the culture, and
yeah.
like the visual elements of the culture, like how they cover their eye, or one of them covers their eye and the other covers their eye with like a fist.
Yeah, yeah, it's this versus this, and it's like, which is great because the colors of the eye patches, it really differentiates them, and also serves to let you know they're the same. Like, these idiots, they're doing the
Mm.
same basic idea. It's just slightly different, which really hits home the stupidity of all of this violence.
Yeah, and it's like that Star Trek episode, right? The
Mm.
famous one with the
The black and white, yeah.
yeah, the half faces.
Yeah, I know.
One is
White and black and the black and white.
Yeah.
yeah, and then reversed for
Yeah. It's but then he also doesn't hold back on the violence.
that's an interesting thing because part of me thinks this is a violent story about how violence is bad. So is he having his cake and eating it too, or is that a necessity to tell a story about the evils of violence, or not necessarily the evils, the horrors of violence? You do have to have a violent story in order
Well,
to talk about the horrors of violence.
Go
I don't
ahead,
think he
Colin,
much
because
revisits, blood and gore and like things like do a power bomb. Like that's a wrestling one. Like there's nobody's getting their guts, torn out or anything like that in
Yeah.
that one. So I think this is just a one time only thing. I think this is an idea that he's just visiting for this one work, and then I think he's done away with it
Well, I
essentially
mean, I don't
in
know if
his
he's done
future
away with it.
stuff.
He's just really good at it. So
he
it's
does. I think
Well, he's
kind
really
of
good at
wanted
it,
in
but
a Daniel Warren Johnson comic.
I think he paces himself. Like, I would say, because I think you're right, Colin. Murder Falcon, do a power bomb, not not nearly as violent as this, but there are parts of Wonder Woman Dead Earth where she takes her lasso of truth and feeds it through the skull and spine of a dead Superman to make this, like,
With
wrecking
this
ball weapon.
to make
Kryptonian
that,
skeleton.
yeah,
Yeah, like she
the mace,
punches
yeah,
right through
that was
Superman's
cool.
chest, right? Like he
But
punctuates it.
He's just really good at.
there's no intestines or anything like that
That's
spilling out,
true,
is what I'm
yeah.
getting at, right? Like he can still do creative things like that, but it's not so gory.
Okay,
But
interest. Okay, I hadn't realized that. So, do you think this is his last like gory, violent comic? I just associate him with
Well,
that
why
so
keep
much
coming back to that? I
I
mean,
think
because
the
he's so
gore.
good at it.
I
I
don't
think
know.
this is his most human-centered violence, but I think it does work because you'll see things like slice, and then like this image of the head bouncing, the body falling. But you need that for something like Thea then looking what she's done, collapsing, vomiting. In just like it's so undignified of a way for her to do it, but
Yeah,
it does as a result hit you of like, yeah, because she just did this. She just took a guy's head off at speeder speed, you know?
that's actually a good definition. Human-centered violence.
Yeah.
It's not situational violence. So in this case, people cutting each other's heads off and stuff like that. Like, and of course, in a fantastic way, like the head goes
Yeah.
flying and things like that. But like, it's still like the human-centered violence. He would gory things can happen in accidents and stuff too. But in this case, it's more human-centered violence. It's a good term.
Yeah, I long ago I think it was during I had heard when Star Wars Episode 2 came out, there was some story about how it's only rated PG because everything that dies is either that gets like cut in half by a lightsaber is either a bug alien or a droid. But if all those
Hmm.
were people, it would have gotten an R rating for violence alone just because it happens so much.
Huh.
But because they're
Well,
not
and
human, it just
Right.
doesn't hit any of us the same way.
the only way a human dies is if they fall from a great height or something.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's like cartoon rules. Like the only way you could kill a character
Oh,
would
yeah,
be if
yeah,
they.
yeah.
If you look
Yeah,
at all Disney movies, that's the only way somebody dies is if they
yeah.
fall into a pit or something.
Yeah, fall and disappear.
Although there are other ways that humans die in Star Wars.
That's true. Yeah. Sometimes they just disappear right in
Or
front of
very
you.
tame
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Um,
Exactly. Disappearing right in front of you.
I did find it really interesting too that he's putting those sound effects down himself.
Yeah, I mean, I love
Yeah.
the hand drawn sound effects, and they're so imperfect, and it feels like that is a response to the very mechanical sound effects that we get in most comics because they're derived from a font.
Hmm.
But uh, you know, I guess like someone like Alex Toth is revered for his sound effects, and while those aren't mechanical, there is a draftsmanship to how Toth does it. They're very well done. Daniel Warren Johnson goes a different route where it looks very hand drawn, and it doesn't look like he put lines down on the page and gridded it out and figured out the
Ooh.
perfect way. He just like threw that hand lettering
Oh
on
yeah.
there.
You know what it actually
And
reminds me of is sound effects done by Bill Watterson.
really,
Yeah, it's which makes sense. He's the top. He's his top artist, which I found interesting as
oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah, like when asked to list his top three comic artists, he's like Bill Watterson, a number one,
Hmm.
and then it's Sienkiewicz, I believe, Frank Miller, and Joe Mad.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Eclectic list
Right?
there.
Yeah, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that because we've gone over some Joe Mad stuff, but he's a real blind spot for me. But I know you guys love him.
So I'm trying to I'm trying to place the influence. It's not in the storytelling, so he's not telling a story like Joe Mad, and he's not taking stylistic elements from, say, how he draws like figures or backgrounds. I will say he's probably most influenced by Joe Madureira's action scenes because Joe
Mm,
Madureira has very, very fluid, very energetic action scenes. And I mean, that's how you would describe Daniel Warren Johnson's action scenes as well, right?
yeah, yeah, because you can see. I mean, look at
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Like you're getting somebody threw something at this guy. Rolo is observing it. This guy's getting his face caved in. It's all, yeah.
There's so much writing on the page here on like just like what every character is going through. Like this is a writer that drew this.
That's an interesting way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Every character is going through something different mentally, at least you can tell. But with the influence for Joe Mad, I would say, yeah, also definitely size relationships. I think some characters are like bulkier and
Oh,
some are
good
more bony,
call. Yeah.
and the way that they all like interact with each other is also probably influenced by Colossus and Psylocke in the same panel, that sort of
That's a
thing.
great call. Yeah, because one of the central, it's not the main story. That's Thea and her questioning of her own revenge quest, but the other one is Rolo, her brother, who is expected to take over for their father, Jerome, and yet when you see like Rolo is he is basically the same size as Thea, but
Hmm.
Jerome is just this fucking beast of a man. He's just
Yeah.
enormous.
Yeah, it's a tank, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wanted to call out this. This is great. The just dropping everything out. It's you and me now. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to take your hands because you fiddled while mine were taken. The
Yeah, it's very
dropping
well
out.
done.
Yeah, the dropping out of cuz sometimes it's for the purposes of clarity, but other times it does hit you in an emotional way of this is this is meaningful. These two characters are the only ones who exist.
Well, and there's so much I guess, yeah, negative space there, and then when you get to the last panel and it's just screaming because of the violent act that's happening, I guess it hits harder. It's more brutal
Yeah. Yeah,
because
and
that is brutal. That last panel.
right? Like chalk, chalk, chalk as he screams. But we also get, and I think, Colin, you're right about the size relationship too, not just in terms of like character design, but in terms of the the closeness of characters. Like we have everybody is
Mm.
here framing Thea doing what she thinks she needs to do. But again, we get like acting. Like Rolo is ashamed that he can't do
Mhm.
it. Jerome looks on like, yes, this is correct. I can't remember this guy's name. Starts with a B, but he's trying to like give comfort and doesn't want to look, and it's
Mm.
it's something that I think at least I have to bring more into my work.
Yeah, just so much
Mhm.
thought put into all these characters.
Yeah.
On the previous page, there's a sound effects he does drop. He just writes drop. That's a thing that Sean Murphy does. I'm I'm not certain of this, but I think Sean Murphy was the the first to do stuff like that, where he would turn a verb into a
Yeah,
sound
drop,
effect.
slump.
Or
Yeah,
slump. Yeah.
there's one. There's like earlier. There's grip, uh, and yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys know of it? Like, do you guys think Sean Murphy was the first to do that? Can you think of anybody else?
The only other person I can think of is
Well,
uh, Brian Lee O'Malley, but that's in a
Oh,
that's in a comedic context. So I don't know that that really counts.
but also in Kill Bill Part One, the animated sequence for Oren,
yeah.
when she whimpers and it has the whimper sound effect, and then she pulls it back into her mouth, like she
Oh,
grabs it and pulls it back in. You know, I think that may have been an influence. He's young enough that I think that may have been an influence at some.
it's either that is an
He's younger than
influence
us, so
or the mangas that influenced Tarantino, because I know Daniel Warren Johnson is a huge manga
Yeah.
fan, but I don't know enough about manga to
of
know
course.
what.
What gave it away?
Yeah, the
It is interesting that if you go to the 80s, there was probably like two artists in the American market that were influenced by manga. And then you go to the 90s, there was four or five. and by the mid 2010s, it's like half the industry is influenced by manga now. Yeah, and part of that comes with the like in the 80s, like Frank Miller was reading untranslated stuff. It was just the stuff that he could find. But by the time you get to
Mm.
the mid aughts and the mid 2010s, this stuff is so prevalent that it is seeped into the American market. And like, would you guys say that Daniel Warren Johnson, his like, he's kind of a melding of the European and manga and American?
Yeah. Well, I get what you mean, but he doesn't really reference European stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think ratio wise, I think there is a smaller piece of the pie would be European. I think it's more so Japanese than
What
American.
actually now that you bring that up, I wonder that's if there is something to that melding that like, yeah, Europe is kind of that, maybe?
Well, I know I suspect he's influenced by Sean Murphy. I just suspect that. And I know Sean Murphy was very influenced by European comics. So maybe it was just sort of like
Well, Mobius for
That's
for
true.
you,
sure.
you yeah,
Mobius
you
is
see
a
Mobius in
like
this work?
dead giveaway, no brainer, one
Yeah.
hundred percent. Yeah,
Just in the world building more than anything, probably, right?
and perspective, like panel compositions with a perspective and all that sort of thing.
But probably
Uh,
more Miyazaki than Mobius. I see a lot of um shoot, what is it called? I see a lot of Nausicaa in this.
okay. I know he has said that James Heron has been a huge influence on him, which I think you can see in stuff like this, like his motion line, which is also very Akira, but like the jagged edges of things that are moving fast.
Yeah, I mean, it could be his influences are influenced by it. Actually, can you go back one page?
Yeah.
Um, I just want to comment on the speed lines on the third last panel, and then the speed lines on the last panel. Uh, I like how you cannot see evidence of white paint in that first panel with speed lines, but then you see a lot of white paint sort of splattered onto the speed lines,
Oh yeah.
and it's just he's
Hmm.
trying to get more of that chaos going because that's after the impact. And this is the fun of artist editions, right? You get to see the splatter and the white paint everywhere, right?
Yeah, and you get to see like where he makes
Yeah.
a new decision. Like you can see here, he has whited out the entirety of a border that was here,
Oh, okay.
and drawn and extended this out because he realizes halfway through, no, no, this needs to be all white. This needs to be just the two of them. No containment.
See, what's inspiring about this is that you can read a comic and think like it was fully formed in the layout, and that this is a genius who has just like got it all figured out. But when you look at this, you can see evidence of
Hmm.
him like discovering it as he's creating it.
Yeah.
Um, it makes these artists that we revere seem a little more human, and their skills slightly more attainable, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, man, I am glad I read this now because goddamn did I need that. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys have helped me out as well, but yeah, just
Is he
sometimes
one
you.
of your biggest influences, Taylor?
I think so. Yeah, he is. I never really thought of him as one, but I think Eric and I were at the Calgary Comic Expo, and uh, your observances of how I work, uh, I think, made me realize, like, oh yeah, yeah, he is. Like I didn't think about it, but yeah.
Oh, interesting. I don't. What did I say specifically?
Oh, when you were talking about the because for the audience, Eric made me at gunpoint made me start trying out like physical media, get back to physical media, and you were talking about the use of like the types of artists. There's like the very tightly plotted, like tightly controlled pencilers, and then there's very like, let's fucking go.
Oh yeah.
And
It
I think I realize I have wanted to be a Capullo or Coipel that like really hone in on stuff tight, and that's just not who I am. it's not it's not gonna be. That's just not my personality.
That is interesting because I went through a similar thing where I always say that, and it's a little reductive to put people into, or artists into, two categories. It's a lot more complex than that, but just for the sake of argument, we'll say that there's the Arthur Adams types and the Paul Pope types.
Yes, yes.
Exactly as you said. And there were points, like I am more the Arthur Adams type, the more like meticulous, planned. There were points where I wanted to be more like the Paul Pope type, and it's just, you are who you are.
Yeah.
You can try to be something else, you can fight it, you can make attempts, but in the end you are who you are. And I guess that's the realization you came to, which is the same thing that I went through, which is you dabble and try this and that, but you, in the end, you find out you are who you are.
Yeah, yeah. It's and it's kind of freeing in a way. Like I don't have to try to be, as much as I love Capullo's work and wish I could draw as good as him, uh, just like him. That's not going to happen. So now I just get to find out, where am I going from here.
It's the start of a journey for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. To that point, or actually to your previous point about like realizations, you can actually see like little paste ups that he's done in here. Like,
Oh,
oh,
very
he
cool.
realized something didn't work. I gotta go back over that.
Yeah, and he's like a page a day guy, right? So like every
Yeah,
one of these pages was done in that 8 or 9 or 10 hour workday.
yeah. I actually, he goes into depth about it as well. I wanted to get your guys' take on it. His attitude is, it's a page a day. So when, because he's a husband, he's a father, he's a musician, he's involved in his community. So for him, it's 8 hours. Whatever he gets done, like he is like, nope, I can't go back. I can't. I gotta just keep moving forward as far as a page a day. Like maybe a little fixes at the
They're
end.
professional.
Yeah, like any mistakes, he's like, well, it didn't turn out like I wanted, but it did turn out, so I just got to keep going.
I mean,
Which,
You
he's a
did say,
professional.
besides any fixes at the end, right?
yeah, because there'll be stuff like, at the, I think it sounded like at the end of an issue, right? Like if it's 24 pages, on that 25th day he'll go back and do little fixes, but nothing as far as well, nothing as far as anything like the kind of fixes you can do digitally, where you like select something. Ooh, that line isn't quite right. I'm just gonna manipulate it to be curved the way I actually want it. It's, yeah, I'm either whiting it out or I'm letting it lie, but one way or the other, I got to keep moving.
I was gonna say though, like time delegation like that, like just plow through and then at the end kind of go back and comb over and maybe redraw a face here or there, or redo a sound effect or an explosion or whatever the case may be. But like that sounds. I mean, he's not completely drastically changing the layout of the page overall,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Just little fixes here
Yeah.
and there. Right. Yeah, that sounds.
What it comes
Yeah,
down to
he
is
believes in
he's
himself.
not, well, and he's not precious about everything. He's able to let things go. Like I'd imagine, I could picture him flipping through this and being horrified by every other panel. Even though we think it's gorgeous, it's just
Yeah.
he can let that go. The page is done. Get it out of my sight. Move on to the next page. He's not overly precious about it
Mhm.
all, which is a problem I have. I think I tend to be a little too precious about the art, and I probably spend too much time on it, and then I end up hating it a month later anyway. So it's kind of ridiculous.
uh I wanted to call this page out. This panel in particular made me think of Colin, because as soon as I saw this, I immediately thought guts, just blowing
Mm.
shit up, just like, nope, fuck it, boom.
Why? Because Colin went on a murder
Yeah.
spree that one time?
No,
Wait, what are
no,
you
because
talking about?
no, because we both share enjoyment of
No, it's
yeah,
Berserk.
Kentaro
Okay.
Muro's.
A blind spot
Uh,
of mine.
you got to check it out, man.
Yeah.
It's a hell
No,
of a
the
book.
action in Berserk is
Yeah.
Yeah.
ridiculously good.
And one of the things that,
Yeah.
aside from the sword that is 6.5 feet tall, the main character also has a mechanical arm that functions as a cannon. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, Colin's gonna like that. I just know.
Eric, just don't you remember when I sent you a photo of that one page where it was guts? It was three panels and it was
Oh,
guts.
climbing a
He was
fence?
looking at you, and then
Oh,
no, and then he took a swing of his sword, and with the swing of his sword, you could see that his eyes, his one good eye, was really wide when he was swinging, and then the last panel was him just leveling something into two pieces, and you could just feel the energy from
yeah.
that swing, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he was about to give it about everything he had, and then he just leveled it. That's the type of thing
Well,
we're
and
talking about. It's like is
energy
the
is the
impact,
Yeah.
thing
right?
is because he's not precious about the art because he's to some extent he's like drawing with ink. He's maintaining that energy, which to talk about myself where I am a little too precious. Like my art does not have the same amount of energy that you could see on these pages, and part of that is the not being overly precious.
Yeah.
Actually, could you go
Look at
the
this.
previous
Camera.
page
Yeah. Yes, I can.
on that last panel on the right? I just want to comment that like I have tried to do this thing where like when you're inking it, you create a jagged line to create movement. And for some reason, every time I did it, it just does not work. And I think I figured out why, one of the reasons at least, why I couldn't make it work. Uh, I think I would take the entire figure and the entire figure would be jagged. But here I was looking at this and realizing that like the head has perfect line work.
Yep.
And then, as you move right, that's when things start to get
Yeah,
jagged.
it gets
So
drawn out too.
yeah, so there's a clarity and like you understand what this creature looks like, and you would less so if the entire thing was jagged. So he's telling the story and communicating exactly what this creature looks like, and but also conveying the movement by putting the jagged lines all over the legs, and it also has to do with like I guess how our eyes are moving left to right. I guess you linger a
Oh
bit on the
yeah.
head and then it seems to speed up. So it
Right.
works effectively with how we read it.
Right. All these speed lines are leading you to them, and then you move here.
It's sort of like taking a
Right.
camera and just going slow and then whipping it really quickly,
Yeah.
and that's the effect he's giving off. It's just amazing craftsmanship. Just yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
The dust, on this panel that Eric was talking about with the monster like galloping towards them,
Hmm.
that line of dust that it's kicking up is a perfect lead in down to the face in the very last panel,
Oh,
like right under the
yeah. Good
hoof.
call. Right in here.
Yeah, like that's just to bring attention to that to the artists in the audience. Like, if any aspiring artist, like look for things like that. Like a lot of those things really help the composition of your art in terms of leading the eye off on and off the page. And yeah, also for the sound effects, I meant to bring up that when he's hand drawing the sound effects, you can tell there's a contrast between when he's using a thick line or a thin line on the sound effect in contrast to what he's using on the actual figures and then the environment and the art
Mm,
with the action lines and everything. If the action lines and if the figures are drawn really thick, then the sound effect will tend to be a thin line, whereas
oh
vice versa,
yeah.
Mm.
right? So so in terms of like just practice that too. If you're looking to incorporate this into your art, like try to do both over a couple of pages, and maybe all thin on one page and all thick on another page, or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Also, you bring up a great point because now I'm noticing too in here it looks like he inked this all in black and then went back in with whiteout to give it like it looks like he
Oh,
thought
interesting.
thought better of it and wanted to maybe not like lessen the heaviness of that, but still keep it that thick ass line, just not all thick line.
You
Hmm.
know, anytime you guys point out stuff like that, I really wish I could just actually hold the piece of Bristol in my hand and actually just look at it, right? Like what you can see everything. It's all revealed right there, right? So
Behold! All right, now that's going to fuck up this whole
Beautiful.
camera setup, but that's fine.
Look at that wham, and look at, on the W, you could see he's just like thrown white paint on, and I think that's
Oh
not
yeah.
white paint. That's the presto marker he uses, and you can tell because you get like you get a point where like the presto, the whiteout wasn't coming out perfectly, and you get these split ends kind of situation, and you can kind of see at the in the middle of the wham parts of that, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just sort of like he's just throwing stuff down and not caring that like, oh, the presto wasn't flowing properly, I have to go in and fill that extra space, it didn't come out perfectly. It's just like he's harnessing the energy by just throwing the stuff down.
Yeah, there's a great video from Proco, I believe, where they got him into their studio to I don't really know what they seem to be like an online kind of comics great courses plus sort of thing. But they ask him to go over his travel inking toolkit, and he is just like pulling shit out. But he's talking about how like yeah, I like this one because the tip isn't very good, so you run out real quick, and then you get a lot more interesting textures and lines that come out. And it's how
It's
often
all about what different tool the different textures different tools can give you, right?
yeah, because how often have all three of us put something down and been like, "Ow, it's running out," and just tossed a pen,
Yeah.
right? Rather than
yeah,
like, "Well, I'll
yeah.
save it, and
No,
what can I
yeah, you
use
got
it
to keep
for?"
it.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not like he's going in with like these speed lines. That's the best pen he's got. But you're right for the whiteout pen or whatever he's using there. It's just like, it doesn't need to be. Like I need white down. I don't need pure white in this specific arc.
Well, and also like he's clearly using a dry brush for the M and the exclamation mark, and yeah, I mean, I'm not super confident with all these tools. I'm trying to get better at them, but like I just get the impression that like he knows how dry the brush is, and he knows what it's. There's I guess there's a perfect balance of control and chaos. Like there's 50% chaos, but 50% like he knows. He knows how dry that brush is, and how much he's going to get out of it, or who knows, maybe he throws the ink down and he's surprised. I don't know.
This is I think the result of what is called a Pentel brush pen, not the pocket brush pen, but the Pentel brush. They're a lot longer and hold
Oh, and you
better.
can squeeze the
Yeah,
center. Yeah.
and apparently the brush tip itself is a lot stronger. Like if you tried to kind of like mash and stroke or something with the pocket brush pen, it's like, well, that pen is done. You just ruined it. But the Pentel brush pen itself, it's like, oh, they spring back, no problem. You can
Yeah.
fuck around with that thing all day, and it's fine. So he seems to also know the limits of the materials that is that is applying the material, if that makes sense. The material that is applying the medium. Yeah, I'll say that.
And I guess the takeaway lesson here for all artists is try every single tool that you can until you find what you like. Just try
Yes,
it all.
we
Just go
will
to Jet
see.
Pens and just spend mega bucks buying everything and give everything a try.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Taylor, you're newly getting back into physical media, so I
I
guess
sure
you're
am.
starting a collection of
Yep.
tools. And maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, that you'll have just a giant pile of these tools. And like even at the Calgary show, you were beside me, and I handed you a whole bunch of stuff. Was like, oh, here's a $300 pen. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. What do you think of it?
I really liked it. The only issue was the ink, but that can be fixed, you know? You can
Oh yeah,
fill it
it
up with
didn't mesh
different
well
ink with the
with the watercolor,
watercolor,
right?
but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it
Well,
can't be used
you know,
elsewhere. Yeah.
to speak to that though, like, experimenting with different types of pens and brushes and all sorts of mediums can really change the way you think and change how you draw. If you find an efficiency with a certain brush, maybe you're a pen guy, maybe you're a brush guy, but how will you know unless you try? And when you are trying a brush,
Yeah.
what kind of brush are you trying, and that sort of thing? Like I encourage everybody to just try everything. You know, I spent
Yeah,
thousands of
definitely.
dollars
Absolutely.
on art supplies trying everything. So, and it's always changed the way I think here and there. Even anything from charcoal to just ink and gouache and watercolor, all those things, right? Like it just changes the way you think. And I encourage people to really explore that.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it changes the way you think because you're right. It makes you bust out of what you're aware of. Just like even if you don't like it, you can at least take something from a tool that you didn't
Well,
realize without it.
actually, just like it's off topic. We're not. It's not about extremity, but like if you take Barry Windsor Smith, any of his pen and ink drawings, just any single one, and compare it to like a watercolor from Katsuhiro Otomo,
Mm,
right? Otama uses the watercolors to define texture and things in certain ways, different to Windsor Smith, who's doing the same thing on like rocks or bricks on a wall or something, just with pen and ink compared to watercolor. Like they channel different little, they fire off different
Neurons in your brain.
things in your mind that you exactly,
yeah, new
yeah,
pathways.
Yeah, it's all about opening new pathways in your brain.
Yeah,
That's what new experiences do.
exactly. Yeah.
right.
Well, so this
Which
artist edition, this has 12 issues in it.
it's all 12 issues. Yeah.
That's crazy. How many pages is this thing? Because
That's wild.
I look
Well,
at some of my artist editions, and I think the max is like usually 6 issues or something, 7 issues maybe.
no. Look at how thick this is. Look at that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, this is about 300 pages
I
worth of
think
stuff,
so.
you
That's
know?
Yeah, because
crazy.
it's 12 issues with what is this? It's like this is the 20th page of issue 2. I mean, Eric, you can speak more to the restrictions that Image has, but I assume they're staying within a specific range, but yeah, it could be.
I mean, you can. This is at Skybound, and so I with Skybound, they're footing the bill, so they try to keep to around 20 pages generally.
Okay.
Um, but if you have your own image book outside of the studios, an image book you own, you can do whatever page count you want. It just has to be like the final floppy has to be the page count has to be divisible by 4, obviously, because it's printed on 11 by 17 paper that's folded in half. So
Ah,
um,
okay.
the,
Mm.
so because everything has to be divisible by 4, you do run into situations where like you have, you know, 28 pages is the perfect page count, but oh, I added a 29th page, so that adds automatically 3 more pages to the equation.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. The more you
Mm.
know. Uh, that's some interesting insight, especially for obviously for us, but also for the audience. Like, I didn't know that. Damn. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that like I just learned recently, but it is incredibly obvious when you think about it. It's like, yeah, 11 by 17 and a half. It's 4 pages, but and we have run into that with assorted crisis events where Dennis has wrote the perfect amount of pages, and then I add a page, and it's like, okay, well, the size of the issue just you didn't add 1 page, you added 4 pages to the comic.
I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if it's going to show up on this, but the drawings that she does, he's leaving these blank. Like, he is not putting these in. They're going in
Oh,
after the
interesting.
fact.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can't figure out where what the source of them is.
Oh, I mean, it could
Mhm.
be that he wants it to be cruder than, maybe when you're that good of an artist, you cannot draw crude anymore. And then you go to, I say this because uh, in the new script that I'm working on for Started Crisis Events, Dennis called for me to draw something really crude, and he basically said, if you can't pull off how bad this is, I can do it. Uh, Dennis told me. So, I mean, there is a possibility that because this is a storytelling thing, right? Like, this is someone who's drawing with her non-dominant hand,
Hmm.
and so maybe he went to somebody else and said, or I don't know, he could have done it with his non-dominant hand. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
was gonna say, like, is that your strategy? Are you gonna go in with, no, I'm just gonna use my non-dominant hand?
Actually, I haven't figured it out yet. I think
Because,
I can draw pretty crude. I'm not the best artist in the world, so I think I can still draw pretty shitty if I want to. I think.
he says he's not that good. He's a working comic artist. Audience, don't listen to him. Colin and I are dreaming of being where he is.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
there's
Yeah.
always room for improvement for me. I'll say
Come
that.
on.
Hey, we can all
More
improve.
more just like really tightly packed panels. Like, he
Yeah,
is
just so
just,
impressive because
yeah,
he's writing this for himself. So
yeah.
yeah, he's not looking to cheat in any way. He just wants to tell a great story.
Which is, yeah, like, this is, you would think he would be in the perfect position to, like, oh, now I don't have to do, because I think to my mind that does happen, and you can see it in a lot of some of the lesser image output of the early 90s, right? Like, just I just want to draw fight scenes. I don't care about backgrounds. 3, 4, maybe 2 panels per page. Who gives a shit?
If it's a splash page, I can sell the page. So let's have more splash pages.
Yeah. But
Mm.
as we said previously, like, he's done tightly packed, and then boom,
Yeah.
boom, like, just fuck off with this. And I'm gonna, I say this a lot. This is fucking rad, This is just, it's so fun, and it's so violent. It's great. But yeah, like,
Yeah, just like mic drop moments every third or fourth page.
yeah, yeah. But they're all, I don't know, they're all kind of, yeah, they're punctuations. He's building to them. He doesn't overwhelm you with them. Like, everything that he's doing is, okay, well, this is quick. Let's move through this. There's something going on. So that when emotional moments like this remain, it hits, because this robot, this killing machine, has just seen, like, oh, I only moved on instinct. Oh God, what have I done?
Yeah, the horrors of
You
violence.
know, actually, now going back to what I said before is like when I read this again for the preparation for this episode, but just reading it, I'm just like, ah. every moment, every sad little bit. I'm just like, oh my god, what are you doing to me, Johnson? What are you doing to me? Why are you making me feel this way? And it's only the third issue.
Right?
Mother fucker.
Yeah. Like, here he is.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, this is the guy that held her down while her hand got taken. And
Oh, dude.
yeah. And like previously, we saw
Yeah.
like the chalk, chalk, chalk and his screaming. And then this is just,
This sequence is amazing.
yeah, she just puts it in his head. It's not, it's just, it's even heavier this time. Uh, yeah.
This page is great. So, as a general rule to new artists, they say you should not break panel borders. But
Yeah.
if you're an expert of composition and if you're thinking story first, you can get away with it. And this is just a perfect example because this is breaking panels for story purposes.
Hmm.
Uh, these are her memories. These are her thoughts. This is her father egging her on while she contemplates or, I guess, hesitates the violence that she's about to perpetrate. So, yeah, she's surrounded by all this, her thoughts, her family. And yeah, that's what the composition is telling us. And that's why she's popping out of the panel borders and the all this imagery is around her.
This leads from the woman that named her artist and
Yeah.
snakes down like it's like what a heavy hitting thing to have lead to her now with her arm gone and the violence that she commits in the name of vengeance that is just it's weighing on her more and more right next to a page of somebody else of this Shiloh bot that is also dealing with what have I become, what am I, why do I even exist? It's just like bam bam.
Shall we? I want to call that self-destruct button Chekhov's self-destruct button because
Yeah,
he doesn't quite push it there. Somebody stops him, but it's introduced in the first act. It's got to go off before
it's
the
yeah,
before the last act ends.
yeah, it's got to be pushed. It's got to be. This also, I really like the composition of this wedding day. There's almost no heavy blacks. I mean, obviously, except for their hair, but even their shadows are filled in with scratches, and they kind of lessen as it gets closer to this couple. As in their memories, everyone is in light colors, and it's just the heavy
Actually, can you
blacks
grab the
around
the
them.
comic
Yeah.
because there's a white border that's placed around the panels.
Oh, good call.
In terms of panel count per issue, did you guys really go into the weeds of like how many panels per page, and like did you try to find any sort of rhythm or formula that he was using? Because you'll notice predominantly 7 panels per page. Some pages will have 5, some pages will have 8, or some pages will have 9, some pages will have 6. Like I think I haven't done the actual any sort of real calculation, but uh, I think he delegates that if to a base 7
Hmm.
formula, possibly, where some panels will have 4, but another page will have 9, right, to make up. Like it's just evenly distributing how many panels per scene, per page, per like have you guys taken any observation of that?
I was keeping an
Well,
eye on it. Yeah.
but
I don't
Taylor,
know that he's. Yeah.
earlier you said he feels out the page.
Yeah. I don't know that
So
it's a formula that he does or anything like that. Like it's not a conscious thing, but I think is he is making a point to. I don't know how to say it. He's doing. I want to say he's doing it instinctually, if that
yeah,
makes
I mean,
sense.
I can buy that because as you said, he's feeling out the page, and he's a storyteller, and he's just putting everything that feels necessary. I've been known to add panels to a
Well,
page, and from my experience, where I'm given like a 5 panel page, and I just want more communicated. You're just adding panels because you want more communicated. I don't think it's any like math equation or anything. Which I guess you're not saying that, Colin, but I don't know. I think it's just like the primary thought is how do I communicate everything I want to communicate, and then this is just what happens.
well, have you guys looked at any of his scripts? Not just for Extremity, but for just anything.
I
Like,
have
is it page by? Is it the Marvel method, or is it like a full script, or like Have you guys seen anything like
the
that?
only thing I have seen is on one of his live streams. He very early he went through the writing of I want to say it's just 4 pages, a 4 page script that went into the deluxe edition of Murder Falcon. It was like an ancillary. It was a small little thing that he just couldn't find space for, but thought, I'll put this in now, and yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's I think it's at the back. It is Jimmy getting her drum kit, her mythical drum kit.
Well, I will say
Uh,
that he's at
Hmm.
Skybound when he's doing this stuff, so he has to give a script that an editor can read and approve. Um,
okay.
so to some
Right.
extent, he can't just start drawing it.
I know he wants to get more into writing, and I'd be interested to see like this script versus, say, Transformers, right? Where after from issue 7 on, he's just the writer.
Yeah, working with the great Jorge Corona.
Yeah. But
The great, the one
How many of the one
Corona.
are there, Colin?
they're all the one.
I gotta tell you though, that
Yeah.
guy. Hey,
Oh
come
no,
on.
definitely.
Just a sidebar. That guy. Just wait 1 year. Wait 3 years. He's
No, he's already there.
oh. What's that GIF of? Yeah, he's already there. Exactly. So like it's one of these. It's a 45-degree angle from 2026 to 2027 to 2028. That guy is the one.
Oh, hey, interesting. Grab the comic because he changed something here. The page is different, slightly.
Interesting. What has he changed?
Take a look at the first 2 panels,
Oh shit. Oh
and
my god.
you understand why he made that change because you got to keep the characters on the left always on the left, and the character on the right always on the right.
That
And
is wild.
I suspect that he wrote the dialogue that you know the dialogue Jerome was said first, and then Dag said first or second, and then that's why it was reversed. And then he realized, well, why don't I just switch this character needs to be on the left.
Oh yeah. Hmm. This is a great like I just recently learned the term uh 1v1 because as a non video
Oh, you
game
didn't know
player,
what
this was
1v1
this
means?
was no, because I don't play video games, and I'm
Yeah,
not.
me neither.
I don't read a lot of manga, which I guess that also shows up into. But this is just like what a great setup of the stillness that he's setting up that is just broken. Not even here, but in the second page, it's just. I mean, this breaks it, but man, then just the fight going into it. Um, for me, it's I I don't know how you would do this better. Like to me, it still doesn't look right, but I also can't think of how you would do. He he just shoots a fist
Yeah,
into the
and you
guy's
can
side.
Well,
tell the Fisk sort of
I
bounce
was gonna
off of that hard flesh.
Yeah,
I was gonna bring up though this is a very real, like visceral fight scene, right? Like it's between it's
it
man to
is.
man,
Yeah,
just and nothing fantastic about it. This is a very realistic fight scene, and then you get to the last bit where he's about to, you know, throw down the stone, and then all of a sudden there's a giant spider there. Like
Yeah.
it takes you right back out of it. Like, oh no, none of this is real though. None of this is real. You know, it's still.
But like the way he falls to the ground here, like his Jerome's
Yeah.
legs akimbo, like his feet are all twisted.
Yep.
Just the
Yeah.
boom, the headbutt. It's just so gloopy. Like they just get worse and worse as they go.
And look at
And you're
the
right.
different font styles on that one page alone.
Oh yeah.
He's got a lot of
Ooh,
he's
thunk.
got a lot of knowledge and playfulness when it comes to how to make these fonts work. So with the Thupt, he's got like the lines on the top
Yeah, like
easily disappearing.
pushing down. Yeah.
He's
That
got
then
like a thin font and a thick font, and
So
he's got the boom, which is like the text is overlapping. The thunk, none of the letters are touching each other. I mean, on this one page alone, he's got like several different sort of quote unquote fonts at his disposal.
So bringing it back to the sound effects, if you take on the second page there, tackle panel 2.
Yeah.
So on that page alone, like it's clear that he's got his leg up and he's pushing with his forearm that he can take him to the ground there. But the tackle, like, just clinches it in your mind, and you immediately just go to the next panel. Like the idea process is kind of unlocked automatically, and you just go to the
right.
from left to right. You just go right away to the right. So it's same with drop, same with what was it, slow or a slump. You know, sound effects
Yeah.
like that. If it's a character that's just on their knees, if you just add slump, the motion is just kind of you can see it already, right? It's kind of like a visual poetry in a way.
Man,
Yeah.
it is just so fun how like some of this is onomatopoeia and some of it is just like he's tackling the guy. I'm just
Right.
Yeah.
tackle.
Yeah.
It's just so fun. I love it so
Boom.
much.
Yeah, but you're right, Colin.
Yeah,
Then
it's
just
great.
all of a sudden, Will's wife shows up riding a fucking spider. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
A real spider
Right.
that gets sliced in half. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But it's just so rad. You know, what's interesting, though, about this fight is that he actually seems to get, I don't know if bored is the term, but you can see in his recent work, he becomes a fan of wrestling as an adult and starts bringing wrestling moves into fights. He's like, well, what if the Autobots and the Decepticons wrestled and did like pile drivers or suplexes and shit? But you know, it wasn't staged, and there's I don't know. I on the one hand I do like it, but there's kind of an artifice to it. I think I prefer this, where it's just this is unglamorous. This is like this to this to this to this is just like it's all opportunity. It actually makes me think more of the John Wick style of fights, which
Are very
like you can
messy.
say they're choreographed, but there is kind of a struggle for power in each one, where especially in that first one where it's just, oh, I got to get my arm out of here, but that opens me up to this. I stomp, but now that leaves his leg open and allows me to push him up and down. It's just
real
there's
fights
a lot
are
more.
messy and awkward.
Yeah. I remember hearing once it was the explanation of how martial arts movies are actually musicals, because they're all choreographed fights with music playing. And somebody pushed back on it, and the person that brought it up was like, have you ever seen a real fight? You have. It's UFC, and it's just two sweaty dudes rolling around on the floor. Like, that's what a real fight is.
Yeah.
It's unglamorous. I do want to point out the use of speed lines. It's always his use of speed lines is always bordering on it's almost too much. But because you get things like this, but at the same time, it serves the purpose of that door is open. It was closed and now it's open. Like I
It
don't know
adds
of
a
a
theatricality to
better
everything.
way. Yeah, yeah, and he has said in interviews. Shout out to the Dave Vengers YouTube channel, fellow
West Coast
YouTuber.
Avengers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, Danny Warren Johnson does not know how to be subtle. He's got he works
Yeah.
best on a 2D black and white page, so he has got to scream it at you, and I appreciate uh, that attitude. Like, yeah, this is motion is not happening here, but motion has happened.
Well, that's like an animation rule, and sort of a the Jack Kirby way of comics, or comics the Marvel way, whichever you
Oh,
choose. But which is that
so elegant.
it this medium is not for subtlety, because you have to
No.
communicate ideas, and sometimes if something's too subtle, you're not communicating uh, things as powerfully as you need them to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's actually why his my favorite of his work is Murder Falcon, and I think it's because comics and heavy metal are the exact same in terms of subtlety. Absolutely none. There is no subtlety in there. In either medium, either form, it's just all on the page. Um, I did want to bring up this as well. The bringing this up, it would have been so easy for him to just have this pose kind of like the logical conclusion of this, the battery being taken out to like a sideways fall of Shiloh, but that he cuts to something that points to, like, it's directing you towards the next page, because that's another thing that we talk about a lot, about how to direct an eye around a page, but you also do want to spur the audience on to the next one as well. Like, keep going. What just happened?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you want to propel them
Mm.
through the story, not just a page, but each page.
Now on this next page, I want to. Okay, interesting.
This one?
I was trying to figure out how he pulled this off, because if you pull out the comic, okay, now I sort of see it. Although, yeah, because it looked like the entire fire was a color hold, but no, he just did the top part.
Right.
Because
This versus in
yeah,
here.
and
Yeah.
it's very subtly hidden actually in the colors. Like you can barely see that he put ink down there. Like clearly it is. It's like a bit of a dry brush effect, but I couldn't see the line work through the colors.
It's a dry brush effect, and then he's gone over and hatched with not a whiteout that is not, or uniball gel pen that isn't completely opaque. So you get still
Okay,
some of that black through. It's just kind of lessened it. He's
yeah. So it's like a
it
gray. That's
Yeah, it looks almost like I'm trying to get away from these, but in digital, it's you can tell a good to me anyway, you can tell a good digital artist from a bad one in their use of the hatch tool. For
overuse.
me,
Yeah.
well, so there's the overuse, but there's also, you can, in Clip Studio anyway, you can turn any brush into its own eraser. So just laying it down is one thing. Laying it down and going back over and like doing a push and pull with black, white, back and forth until you get the amount that you want, is, to me, it's the difference between. I can't think of a bad digital artist at the moment, but take a look at the way Jorge Jimenez uses it in something like Superman's cape or something like that. He uses it quite well because he really like he softens it as he goes.
Yeah, I think he's the best at using. I mean, I really dislike that crosshatch brush that I see everywhere. I really dislike it because it's taking something that should be organic, and it just looks so mechanical, and it just looks like a stamp that's repeating over and over again. But
Yeah. No, 100% agree. 100%
but
agree.
you know,
Can't stand it.
I think he does pull it off because he doesn't overuse it. I think.
No, no, and he pushes and pulls it as he needs to. He doesn't
But I
rely
mean,
solely on
I've
stamp.
seen artists that just like there's a lot of bad digital art out there where like you know the artist clearly said to themselves, "Oh, I'm about 5 minutes away from finishing this piece, and there's no background. I'm just gonna put an ugly crosshatch
Yes.
brush all over the entire piece and fill the
Yeah.
entire space, and it looks so ugly." But okay,
Yeah.
here we have another example of
Eric,
fire.
shut up, man. You're giving it a.
Shots fired.
Come
Shots
on.
fired.
Hey, hey, hey. Relax on that, right?
I have opinions. But here's another example of him drawing fire right here.
Yeah. In the
So
fireplace? Yeah.
yeah, in the fireplace, it looks like he put a whole bunch of black down and then brought out the white paint to cut out the fire.
Mhm.
Is yeah? Do you think that's what he's doing there?
No, I think he's left he's doing the it looks like this area here and in here what he's done is he's actually just left it and he's thrown down I think with just a mashed up brush pen. He's thrown all of this down and then goes in with whiteout to kind of cut into it. So like that, all of this, he's lessened it in here. He's done a little cross hatching in here, which, like, if you look on the colored version, it's even more washed out by the colors. But he's again, I think he's doing a push and pull when it comes to he's only putting the indications of smoke or cast light or something. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's he's definitely leaving a lot of this just white.
Yeah, yeah. It makes for a very fun looking fire, very organic looking, very alive, which you want your fire to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's in no small part to Mike Spicer's colors being thrown down as well, right? Like
Oh, and what a
he's using
beautiful palette on this page.
yeah, yeah, warm.
Just the
Uh,
warmth.
hmm Yeah, that's great. Mike Spicer's he's the goat. I did want
Oh man,
to bring
this page,
yeah.
this double page spread.
He's got himself in there,
Yeah,
just drawn away.
which he
But
does this a lot, right? Like, because I think he also put himself in a cross section of uh, what was
Bettery
it? Yeah,
Bill.
Beta Ray Bill. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he's somewhere inside of Scuttlebutt during a cross section like this. This actually, though, what I like about it is that can I? Is this? It's not all gonna fit, but that's fine. Um, is that starting down here? It's not exactly like you would think he starts up here.
yeah. I mean, that's how we all read it that way. First, we all read it the wrong way, and then went, "Oh crap, I'm supposed to read it this way," which is fine. Like, it's okay
Yeah,
for a page like
yeah,
this.
because you're just taking in. Well, because it's. I think it works so well because this is not necessarily her starting point. This is just a reframing of here, of down, of her down on the spiral staircase, and you can still easily follow her up to the top.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
this is a consideration I think he made. Like, he knows that it's going to be initially confusing, but it's he needs it to look like this. She's at the bottom and she works her way up to the top, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine, especially for a double page splash page moment.
Yeah.
This is something where generally this is breaking a rule, but it's okay because it's not spoiling anything and just gets everything across. And there's only
It's
two
very
word balloons anyway.
yeah, true. Yeah, it looks like he pasted this up too.
Oh yeah,
Like he thought better of it at the time and either
yeah, because there's
slapped
no
it
panel
on
border
or
around it, eh?
yeah,
Right, there's
right.
no panel border there. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. He's also decided something here needed to be fixed because there is a lot of whiteout.
could have been a sun or a star or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if it's something like
or
that.
some
Like,
kind of satellite apparatus.
yeah, or like just a glint off a window that didn't work, or just actually no, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's got to be some kind of apparatus that just
Hmm.
no, that doesn't need to be there. Yeah. It's Kirby-esque though. It's like the cutaway of the Fantastic Four's Baxter Building.
It's just so comics, right? It's
Right.
like it's something that
Yeah,
you can't see
Yeah.
in movies. I guess Wes Anderson does it, but generally speaking, you don't see it in movies. It's
yeah,
pure comics.
yeah. But the Wes Anderson thing is like, if anybody else does it, oh, you're just ripping off Wes Anderson. I
Yeah, I
see.
guess he's like the
But
only one who does it, maybe.
right, because he can get away with it because of the doll like nature of his sets. But in this, it's a trope that he has done well. It's a feature, not a bug. And he uses it sparingly, right? It's not like there's one of those in every issue. I do just want to check out the colors on here.
Oh, interesting. Oh, what are the notes saying? I can't quite see that.
Uh, red background, blue background, red, blue. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Communicating the
interesting. Yeah, which is again one of the great things about these things is you get him like telling Mike Spicer, "Okay, here's what I have in mind."
yeah, he's got a
So in
clear
page,
vision.
yeah, ah, great. Just oh fuck. Okay, but you said 6,
Yeah,
page
I mean, we gotta
6.
show off this massive army fight in this double page spread.
Boom! Yeah. Look at this.
I mean, it just even gets better. like,
Yeah.
if you go a
Ugh.
couple more pages, you'll see, yeah, I mean, look at that.
Like he drew this whole fucking thing by hand.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you see something like this in comics? There's,
I think Mobius, like Colin said, like this is where I feel the
yeah,
Mobius
actually,
influence of just like,
Jeff
yeah,
Darrow.
Jeff
oh
Darrow, yeah.
yeah, good call. Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
there's all this talk of like comics having an unlimited budget when comparing to movies, like specifically talking about the VFX budget limitations that movies have. But that doesn't really take into account the artist's abilities or limitations. A lot of artists don't want to draw massive crowd shots or big army scenes, but Daniel Warren Johnson is up to the task. He's gonna do
yeah,
that giant fighting army scene. It's like something out of a Ridley Scott war epic.
yeah. And then what I find interesting about it too is that there's again almost no black on here. Like these are sketches of characters, right? Like he's
He only had
correctly
2 days to draw
dialing
this,
down.
right?
Yeah, yeah. He's really correctly dialing down the detail because like these guys, they barely exist, right? They're they're not really. They're just kind of the general shape of stuff. And a lot of guys have lost their heads, but he's put in like, nah, this guy lost his arm. This guy's
Intestines coming out and being
Well,
stabbed in the
every
neck.
character's a story of itself,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, yeah. Like even despite all of it, the dropping down of detail, he's still putting it all in. Although I will say, to me, this is the biggest thing is Mike Spicer then has to color all of it.
Yeah, you got a bit of a Where's Waldo thing going on here. Like, where's Thea? And then you look and okay, she's
Yeah,
clearly there. And he did a good job of like, okay, she's the one wearing the red jacket.
yeah, yeah.
The
Which,
importance of character
is
design.
something.
But guys, you know, if you actually take into account some of the soldiers that are dying from like spears and whatnot, if you take the arc of action, it actually lines up across the page. So if you look the right page, you see that one soldier getting impaled by the spear right in the middle of the page. All the way back, it's like an arc all the way to him getting impaled. There's just little things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, like they're all they're getting hit with arrows. Yeah, like this guy is reacting to somebody getting gutted. Somebody's gotten hit by an arrow here from presumably this guy. Like, dang, that is complex. Good call.
Hang on. Do you guys see the figure or not? All right.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, not the one you're pointing at it, Taylor. Yeah. He,
Okay, this guy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, there's just so much you could find. Like,
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay. Yes,
yeah.
you're right. Okay, it took us a while, but we got there. Holy shit,
but
that guy goes all the way there.
but that speaks to this page
Yeah.
is that we could linger on this page for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you
That you
guys.
picked that out
Every
is
character
we could
getting killed or
super
getting like,
we could
impressive.
all
Jesus.
find
yeah, you can spend hours on this page.
but I
Wow.
think you found the coolest thing, Colin. That is
Yeah.
undoubtedly the coolest thing here. Yeah, I love it.
Jeez, we
God
got there in
damn.
the end. That's all
God
good.
damn. Well, sometimes you get the limitations of the medium, like we're 1,300 kilometers away, but we still got there. We still got there. I love this. We get down here. We get like little drawings he's done of Thea's face, one in ink, one in pencil. Just like it looks like he's just trying to figure it out. Like, okay, well, what does she look like again? What should she look like in just a baseline? Which he's done
Very
it
cool to
here as
see
well.
that he struggles sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
he's just trying to like figure it out and think, okay, what needs to be here? What does she look like again? Because as much as you live with these characters, at a certain point, you kind of have to remind yourself, no, her face shape is this. It's not this.
All right, let's jump to issue 9.
Ooh, what do you have in 9? Because the thing is, yeah, like we could go through this.
We
Oh,
could spend
every
another
single
like
page.
3 hours on this.
Yeah, but you're right. We are
Yeah.
we're almost at 2 hours here, and well, we don't want the audience rad. We don't want the audience losing focus.
Here we go. So, just the first panel I want to comment on because this is a great, very efficient way of conveying an army of people storming, I guess, a castle, and they're running and killing and running and killing and running some more and killing.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
What I just described could take an entire page, but he very efficiently has the running in one panel and then the slowly finding people throughout the castle and killing them interspersed over top. And yeah, it's just a very efficient way of communicating that.
Oh yeah. The thickness of this, like the panel behind, not as thick of a border, but this, it's just like boom, boom. They impact because of like the thickness of the line of a border can be used for storytelling, and you can see it in this. Because I know he uses
Yeah.
I think it's a 0.8 fine liner to do his panel borders, but
His baselines?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but Like this feels like, I don't know, a chisel, like a substantially thicker line
Yeah,
that's
to
being used.
signify that it's like, overlaid on top, popping up on top.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Right.
But
and
yeah,
they're all hits, right? So it's
yeah. Now, if we go 3 or 4 more pages ahead, you can see a sunlight shot, or where a dragon creature is like nearly blocking out the sun. And so I just want to highlight this page because
Mhm.
it probably works even. Yeah, exactly here. It works even in black and white. And
it sure does.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just so stunning when you can get like, a sunlight effect like this work in both color and black and white.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just stunning.
Yeah, it really is. He's and again, it's a very, this is the sort of thing that lets you know how well Danny Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer work together. Like, sure, you could just have this, but Mike Spicer also gets what's going on, and just he doesn't change it, he enhances it. He strengthens the whiteout that has been put down. He cuts into the shadow that is being cast just from the pop, and then gives her a sharp delineation of
Highlight,
shadow. Yeah, the
a
highlight,
rim
where
light.
he has not indicated that at all.
And most importantly for me is he doesn't overdo it. There is
Mm,
a way of coloring this, and overdoing it and sort of um, taking away from the inks, I guess. You can still look at this and appreciate the inking effects that Daniel Warren Johnson did, even in the color version.
hmm Yeah, yeah. You get his, like, he put spot blacks down. He put little flecks in. Yeah, you're still getting his work. It's great stuff. Um,
Okay, let's skip to let's skip to the cliffhanger to number 11, because what a
Okay.
cliffhanger!
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
oh, the cliff, like at the end of issue
At
11.
the end of issue 11,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Uh,
penultimate chapter.
21. Because see, we can see like 20, 21.
That giant, that giant
So,
alien
how many
thing.
pages each of these? Would you say they're 22-page issues, or?
The earlier ones were 20 page, but this is page 22 and 23.
Okay, so he was able to add more. From my
Well, but
experience
as you
with,
say, 24, right?
yeah, from my experience with working with editors, sometimes the writer asks for extra pages, and sometimes they get it. Sometimes the editor said, "Sorry, no, find a way." And I'm guessing that he asked for some extra pages, and he was allowed it.
So he has a, I don't know if this deal affects the control he has over this, but he owns half of this. Um, he's not the full owner.
Really?
Skybound is the other half. Yeah, is the other owner. And that was in
What
exchange.
the?
That was in exchange for a page rate up
Yeah.
front.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, Skybound generally owns all the, well, co-owns all the properties
yeah.
that they produce, and everybody negotiates different deals. So yeah, but he's publicly
No, hang
said
on.
that he
Explain
owns
that to me. He
50%.
owns.
Hmm?
Yeah. So is that of all the original
No, no,
artwork or
no,
just this
just the
page
property,
that he owns?
Yeah,
extremity,
the
the property.
property.
Oh.
Yeah, he owns
Oh.
50% of it,
Oh.
and Murder
Okay.
Falcon. I'm not sure if Skybound published
Do a power
Do a
bomb? No.
Power Bomb.
Do a power bomb
No,
was his
it was
first
just
full like
Image
Image
Proper.
Central. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I,
So I
I
think
think
that's a different
he got a writing gig, and that's how he financed it, because Image, well, for the most part, Image's back end. Sometimes you can negotiate a page rate though, an
Mm,
advance.
yeah.
I'm not sure what he did, but
Yeah.
I think he got a job. He wrote like a DC like
Oh,
Justice
the
League is yeah.
Jurassic League. Yeah.
I think that allowed him to do the an Image book where he wasn't getting paid too much upfront.
That would make sense. Yeah, especially because he also did Wonder Woman and Beta Ray Bill, which he wouldn't own. That would have
Yeah.
been yeah, like that would have all gone towards it. So
I know that Wonder Woman sold very well. Like that hardcover itself it's
oh yeah,
in all the
yeah,
bookstores right now.
yeah. I
Like
got it.
that's a really pretty looking
Yeah,
book.
yeah. I picked
Yeah,
it up as soon as I saw
same.
hardcover. I'm like, yep, you bet.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'd love a hardcover of Beta Ray Bill. But
Yeah, I wonder
I'm
why
not sure
Marvel's
about
not
that.
why there is no
it
like Treasury edition or something.
I don't think it sold as well as they would have liked. It was really hit by the pandemic. Um, there was a lot of like start stop. Yeah.
Look at this cliffhanger right here.
Yeah, the punch, just like the hanging in the air here of
Just like you
just
want to see that next issue, right?
yeah, it's so rad.
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm talking about when I say it's rad. It's he's in this
Yeah.
mech suit. He's about to fight his friend because the thing is, this guy, this huge monster is Shiloh. Is the Shiloh bot. Like it's it's a
It's
mutated
kind of a Tetsuo
Yeah, I was thinking the
situation.
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
just gonna just wail on this thing. And like that's what you
But it
get.
stays consistent because yeah, page one of number 12, it carries on and you're just enthralled from fucking the first panel.
This is I when I read this, I just heard rocket elbow. Just like it right? Just like it fucking cuz I love that what he does is the tentacles warp, like they
Yeah.
spin as from the punch.
And they kind of
And
flatten a
it's
bit too.
They
yeah.
reel kind of back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they crumple, they break, they flatten, they twist. Um and again, we see like they're in motion. They're messed up. He's gone over some of them with whiteout to even give them an even blurrier effect. But down here, smooth lines, nice and crisp,
Yeah.
Yep.
solid.
Yep.
Now,
Uh, this is great too. I don't know why I love it so much. Maybe I guess just because it focuses you so much. But fuck, that's oh,
I like how he's digitally erased the extra speed lines that are coming out of the panel. So
mm,
the reason he's doing that is because he's throwing the lines on the page without a care of I can erase anything that I don't want digitally, but it feels like it was necessary to do that
yeah.
to splash the ink so that it's leaking.
I assume that was Spicer or production, maybe like not him, but he's
Oh
at the
yeah,
very
who
least
knows?
thinking. He's at the very least thinking,
Mm.
well, somebody will take care of that,
Yeah.
right? Because it's they're not going to put, but there's other things that they just don't. I love the color hold that is put onto the BAM.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, and on the speed lines, which you don't see that often.
Yeah, yeah, it looks really good.
Which is apparently something he did not ask for, and we can see there's no note about it. But I did hear him in an interview say this was like if there was any doubt about Spicer in his mind, this erased it. Like the adding color hold to the speed lines was like,
Mm.
yep, this guy knows what he's doing. There's no question about it now. Like I have nothing. I think the only notes he might give are like if something is misidentified and colored incorrectly, like, well, actually that's a barefoot, not a boot, or something like that. But other than that, he's like, no notes.
Now, this entire issue is just spectacular.
It
Just
really is. Yeah. It's
there's
just
some sort of mechanical machine sword thing that gets introduced like 5 or 6 pages from here. And
I love that. Just the tumbling. Tumbling is so hard to get.
oh yeah. Perfect pose.
Yeah. Let's see. The mechanical.
Yeah.
The mechanical sword with the dial for the power up is.
So
Oh, I
cool.
got a kick out of
Yeah.
that. All you do is just turn it with your thumb,
Yeah.
and it powers up. Right.
I really love this too. Like, it is such a great use of directing you, not just with the speed lines, but with the design that he introduced in issue, I think it's issue 8. This creature is introduced, and it all brings you down to, because they're quite detailed, but these guys, he's just letting the shape of feathers hold on to you, because that's something to remember. Feathers really blend together. You don't got to draw all of them.
Yeah. You can draw them
But
in
also that
clumps.
he's making the decision based on having speed lines in the background too. He doesn't want
Yeah,
to overcrowd the page, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
When this creature was introduced, that's when I felt the Miyazaki influence most clearly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's almost, it's too bad it's not introduced sooner, just because there is something to that idea of, yeah, like Nausicaa or bonding with animals or Princess Mononoke or something that it's,
Just the world building.
yeah,
That's something that Daniel Warren Johnson shares with Miyazaki is this love of world building and creating a lore behind brand new worlds. Just the raw
yes.
creativity behind it all.
Yeah, if you listen to him, he
mm,
will bring up. He does not say it, but I am certain he is a Tolkien nerd, because he
Yeah.
brings up Tolkien in terms of world building a lot. And if there's one guy
mm.
that knows Tolkien, or knows world building, it's Tolkien. I did want to bring this up. This is kind of interesting. Make ship bigger is what this note says.
Oh wow. Now
Uh,
here's that sword
oh
with the
yeah,
dial and the
yeah.
electricity and so we have had
Click.
an episode where we made the argument that the most metal artist is Greg Capullo, but
Yeah.
I think we have a contender here.
I think
What
you're
do you guys
right,
think?
because look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It's
so metal.
yeah. Yeah, just I'm gonna die. So I'm gonna die diving into this gigantic monster with my electro sword. Electro sword. Yeah. And then
But I mean,
that's great.
he's got a lot of influence from Battle Angel Alita and Greg Capullo. Even I mean,
That's true. Yeah, he is
we're
a
talking
fan
about Greg,
of
Greg Capullo. He
Capullo.
looked at Greg Capullo.
Yeah. No,
Looked
yeah, he
to Greg
did.
Capullo. So
Yeah, he's talked about getting to meet him and shake his hand and talk to him about comics as being a standout memory from a con for him.
because the other thing is, like in terms of like Spawn, Capullo is the one that really drove home the point of the big guns that Spawn would have sometimes, or the giant battle axe, or the giant sword, and things like that. A lot of that lore was from Capullo. I
Yeah,
think McFarlane only used that type of stuff for the Spawn Batman crossover and maybe the Overkill stuff, which is only like 2 issues. Like it was Capullo that really ran with that stuff.
yeah,
So
just like these like VW bug-sized guns that he's hauling around, no problem, strapping to himself.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I did want to call. There's something interesting here too. He has used just a very small amount of screen tones to
Oh, really?
give the sound effect a shadow. Which, like, what an interesting, I don't know. This is the sort of thing. It's little things like that that I'm not quite sure where that comes from, but it's in the back of my mind as like captions or title cards affecting the world. You'll see it in a lot of early 2000s TV shows. Well, not a lot, but you'll see it in early 2000s TV shows. I'm thinking Fringe, if anybody ever saw that. They'll often have like Boston hanging over a city, and then that's reflected, this gigantic block letters just floating in the sky, reflected into the water. Nobody sees them. They're just for us, but somebody bothered to have them reflect on buildings or water or something.
Yeah, Fincher did that a lot in the intro to Panic Room.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, now
that was around 2002, 2003 too. That was around that time.
Yeah, that's around the time that I guess VFX, there's like this notable decline in the price of them. It's no longer, the rendering that took forever in Jurassic Park and the money that goes with it. It's like, well, we can process this faster so it costs less. So we can do small things like that. I do want to say, Spicer that's a great use of not color. That's not anywhere indicated anywhere here, but he just, something's wrong. It's dying around him.
And look at this explosion, this double page explosion coming up. Oh,
Which
sorry.
one? Oh, well, I just wanted to say you were right.
Raccoon?
The Chekhov's kill switch.
Yeah.
Just as we reach for it, like God reaching for Adam's finger. Kaboom! Jesus Christ!
Yeah, now look at how different the vibe is on the colored version.
Yeah.
It just, like, the color just completely changes the entire vibe.
And yet I feel like Spicer is also leaning into the tonality that is being thrown down here.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like he's dipping a brush pen into water for some of it and then building up. And Spicer leans into that.
Yeah,
but it also gives a sense of heat.
Yeah, I was about to say is you can feel the heat on the colored version that you don't necessarily get in the black and white version.
There's also, I love this down here.
Yeah,
it's like
there's a sort of mist.
Yeah,
or not mist, but what would you say? Yeah, I guess like smoke.
Yeah,
a fade out. Yeah,
yeah. I can't. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it just adds to.
I mean, maybe it's an atmospheric effect, you can say, because it's like, getting lost within the explosion.
Yeah, because that's not here, but at the same time, man, you still get the power of, oh, he just blew up his friend. Wow, fuck.
Yeah,
that's heavy. That's heavy as shit. And we're already almost at, like, throughout these. Colin, we also have, once again, we have a clear view of spear throwing, and then takes down this mantis mount, which is great.
And here we have a major spoiler, which we should probably avoid.
No, I gotta say the ending.
Yeah, let's just not show the
tears
ending.
me apart.
Yeah,
the ending just tears me apart. I don't have the strength to go on right now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh? Red tape.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, because they've dropped this figure out. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
wow.
all alone here, but for whatever reason.
Very cool.
I don't. Yeah, it must have been something because you can see up close that there's a bunch of whiteout around her, and then nah, fuck it, I'm just gonna tape this up because
See, this ending was the reason I didn't want to keep reading it.
What?
This is precisely what I knew was about to happen, and I stopped
Wait,
buying it after
isn't
issue one.
it a happy ending? Sort of, I don't know, bittersweet.
no,
No, no, no, no.
it's at
Or it's
best
okay. It's
hopeful for the
hopeful.
future.
Hopeful is
Yeah,
a good word. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
yeah.
definitely. I
I
mean, it's
mean,
not that much of a downer. There's
Well,
hope.
if you lose everything, you have nowhere to go but up, right?
yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
what.
that kind of
Well,
hopeful.
and
So,
there's the renaming bit, but we won't go
Yeah,
into
like
that. Everybody,
everybody should
if
just
you're
go read
interested,
this. It's
yeah,
really fucking good.
anyway, yes,
I was
yeah,
surprised at
fantastic
how
book.
good it was.
Yeah,
yeah. The
yeah,
ending hits.
yeah.
Character arcs are
Bottom line for
completed,
sure. That's
and I
yeah.
mean, like, look at the beauty, like the artist edition. Or signature edition. I'm so glad I have, but this as well. Like the quality of this book, it's fantastic. You can read the whole thing all in one go. It is a much breezier story than I remember. I was just flying through it, just having a fucking great time reading it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
lot of fun.
That's true. That's one thing I'll give Johnson's stories. Like you don't even know. It's like Bone. It's like Jeff Smith's Bone. It's just you just go and you
yeah, you
go
just
and you go and
gallop
you just
through, just like,
time
ah,
gets yeah. You just lose time.
yeah, yeah. And when you have it in this prestige deluxe hardcover, you'll come
Yeah.
back to it. You will. I know you will.
Yeah, Image does nice art covers.
Well, once you get through it the first time, it gets slightly easier. There's very few books. Actually, I'll speak to this. There's very few comics that I've read where I can only read it once, maybe twice. Like just one quick revisit, and then that's it. I would say this one, Extremity.
Yep.
Sons of El Topo would be another one.
Cool. Yep.
What else? A lot of what Jodorowsky does, like Diosamante, um, Son of the Gun. Yeah, it's predominantly European stuff. No Longer Human by Junji Ito.
Just stuff that
Sure.
like hits you in the gut personally.
Just stuff that you're just like, well, Eric, you and I have talked about this. Is like, why am I feeling this way at the end here? Like, what's the point? Like, and you want me to read this again? Like, this is supposed to be a really great work that I'm supposed to revisit time after time. It's like, how is that possible?
Well, I'll flip through Sons of El
So,
Topo for the beautiful art, but doesn't mean I have to read the thing again.
well, you'll flip through 1 and 2. You won't even touch number 3. I wouldn't dare touch number 3. It's one of those things.
So what do we got in
I
the
did
back
want
here?
to. Yeah, I did want to go back over just we got some covers. This thing, I mean, it never has looked more like it always kind of looks like a shovel, but it's never looked more like a shovel than here. Um, but yeah, he just does like it's variant covers, but I did want to bring this one out because
Yeah.
we're all
I'm a
fans,
sucker for those
right? Yeah,
Akira
we're all
covers. Yeah,
fans.
I'm a sucker for those.
He's keeping it pretty clean, like it's still his style, but he's clearly trying to stay close to the Otomo aesthetic here. And yeah, I think it works so goddamn well. It's so
Very
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was like a Walking Dead version. I think it was some kind of promotional thing, but yeah. Then you also
Some
get
kind of
like
incentive cover.
yeah, but then you also get like the wraparound covers. And yeah, just I do want like I don't know if I don't know how you would find this book now. I don't know if because it was kickstarted. So I don't know if it's available to purchase, but I think there were retailer bundles. So ask around, see if your local comic book shop has it if you want this, because it's
Yeah,
as close
it's
as you're going to get to his original
gorgeous.
art, right? Yeah.
Without spending
Yeah.
a fortune, right?
Well, I mean, I did spend a fortune on this, but I'm glad I did.
Almost
That's
cheaper than
mostly
buying a
it.
page.
Yeah, that's true. It's mostly the result of shipping here to Canada, but
So this map was in the back of every issue, every individual issue.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Claws of Angband. I just want to. This is just more proof that he's a Tolkien nerd. Angband is the fortress of Morgoth, the fallen Vala of the First Age. So
So Taylor's a Tolkien nerd. We know that.
that's goddamn right I am. Shout out to Rainbow Dave, also a YouTuber on here. I've learned a lot without having to read those interminably long books. And boy, I wish I could say I could find my name here, but
You couldn't find your name?
nope, nope. There's Taylor Bookwalter, and that's it. Got nothing.
Stauft? And maybe is there a
Those
Stauft?
sons of bitches.
It's all in. It's all in first. First name.
There's no Stauft Taylor?
Doesn't look like it. Nope. Nope.
Oh, weird. But your name
Yeah.
should be in there?
I would have thought so, but maybe I just didn't give enough. Maybe I didn't go for. I don't know.
This looks like
Maybe if I
everybody who
got
ordered
the
it.
sketch.
So
I would have thought so. Yeah. Yeah. Unless EF. Nope. No. So yeah, that's strange, but yeah, that was the extremity.
Do you guys want to do a quick closeout, or
Do
Taylor,
either of
did
you have
draw
art?
something
Because
for this?
I do.
I
don't.
wasn't
I
able to
don't.
do art this
Yeah.
weekend, or this
Yeah.
episode. What about you, Colin?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, not me.
Taylor. Let's see
just
what
do
you
it.
have.
Taylor.
All right. Well, this
Yeah.
was actually I should. Here we
Oh,
go.
very cool.
Yeah, this is my first attempt at watercolor
It's
without
so satisfying pulling that tape off.
Yeah, it is without Eric's guidance. So this is not watercolor pencil crayons. Eric was gracious enough to give me a set that he wasn't using, and it didn't completely work out. I discovered that parallel pens, inks, not
Oh.
waterproof. Found that out the hard way.
Well, now you
But
know.
yeah, now I
I'm
know.
glad
So
it
this,
Pigma
it
is,
actually really
right?
it kind of works though with the wet. It looks like a very wet.
it kind of
brown.
does. Yeah, yeah. It's not too bad, but you know, it would have been a lot cooler if I had known that previously. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a new medium that I'm really enjoying using.
Yeah, it looks like you're really taking to it. I'll be honest, like I wasn't a big fan of the pencil crayon watercolors, but I really like this.
Thank you. Yes, I see the difference now. Like having actually used them, there's a huge difference when you're laying it down directly with a brush that you can control the consistency and density of. Like you can just build up and mix colors, and yeah, it was
Are you channeling that Akira bike slide?
I'm certainly trying to. I don't know that I really pulled it off, but
no, it works. No, I like it. No, it's good.
Because I know that I mean, we didn't go over it, but there's a lot of stuff in here that was it's clearly inspired by, if not it's not ripping off, but it's inspired by Akira quite a bit. So I figured, and she's got a red jacket on all the time. Why not lean into it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully my skills improve,
Sweet.
and we see more tighter, well, not tighter, but better works from me going forward.
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we close it out?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's close it out. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.